Good day, learners. Welcome to Biology with Omotayo. Welcome to another session. I believe in the course of the break, you've taken time to revisit a couple of the previous recordings. Yes, this is to ensure that you concretize your learning process. However, today we'll be picking on something new. But before we do, permit me to quickly give a recap of what we had last class. Last class, we examined phylum Nematoda, phylum Arachnida, and phylum Mollusca under the kingdoms of living things and under kingdom Animalia in particular. Remember, there were 9 in all, 9 phyla in all under kingdom Animalia, where we had the rhyme, Porifera, Coelenterata, Platyhelminthes, Nematoda, Arachnida, Mollusca, Arthropoda, Echinodermata, and Chordata. A couple of classes ago, we looked at Porifera, Coelenterata, and Platyhelminthes. While last class, we examined Nematoda, Arachnida, and Mollusca. And a quick one, under Nematoda, there was emphasis that basically it's a phylum of worms where basically they are round worms. A couple of examples under that very phylum where Ascaris, we equally had guinea worm, okay, filaria worm, Wuchereria, whipworm, hookworm, threadworm, among others. This worm under phylum Nematoda have a round cylindrical body. Yes, they have a pseudocoelom. Yes, because even though it seemingly look as though they have 3 body cavity, that is the ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm, but we discovered that there is a pseudocoelomate, a pseudocoelom cavity where fluid is always impregnated to give a form of hydrostatic skeleton. Also, under this very phylum Nematoda, we have these worms with bilaterally symmetrical body. They are hermaphrodites, and some, however, are not. They are dioecious. Remember last class it was explained, when we say dioecious, that means they have male and female gonads, or they have male gonads on different organisms, female gonads on different organisms. Also, they are covered with cuticle, which help to promote a couple of adaptation. From there, we moved on to phylum Arachnida, and it was emphasized in that very class that while writing your spelling for Arachnida, remember that the N comes repeating, A-N-N. Take note, in biology, spelling must be correct to score. So, endeavor to note that when writing your Arachnida, A-N-N. And that as well will be a guide to helping you to come to realization that under Arachnida, we have worms with repeated segments. Repeated segments. Segmentation here is both internal and external. Yes, internal segmentation is carried out by what is called a septa, that ensures there is a perfect division of each segment, both internally and externally. A couple of examples of worms under Arachnida, a common one is the very common heartworm that we see all around us. Also, alongside we have leeches, okay, tube worm, marine worm, lungworm, bobbit worm, and fireworm. Yes, take note of these examples, please. Other characters associated with worms under Arachnida are presence of a true body cavity, and then metameric segmentation. Take note, metameric segmentation. They are equally hermaphrodites, that is to say, both male and female gonads are on the same organism, can be on a single organism. They are triploblastic organisms. Yes, triploblastic organisms. And from there, we moved on and later examined phylum Mollusca. Phylum Mollusca. For phylum Mollusca, we said these are organisms that have a soft body. They have a visceral mass and they have a foot. Yes, basically, organisms under here are sometimes grouped just into an organism with a visceral mass and a foot. Some comes with shell, while others don't. Okay, examples of organisms here is the common African giant snail. You have slugs, you have squid, you have mussel, you have periwinkle, you have oyster, and then you also have octopus, bivalves, and so on. So yes, other unique characteristics associated with this very phylum, that is mollusca, is that they have a muscular foot that is adapted for burrowing, for crawling, and for swimming. Yes, it has a body that is made up of soft tissues, and then also a unique feature called the mantle. If you want to know more about the mantle, check the previous clip. Yes, check the previous class video. A couple of things was said about the mantle, and it's very critical in attempting your questions for your UTME and other exams. So check that out. Members of this phylum, some have calcareous shell while others do not. And with this, we come to the end of the recap for today. So we'll be picking on today's new task, and you can as well preempt. After mollusca, what we have next is the phylum Arthropoda. Phylum Arthropoda. Again, phylum Arthropoda. Please take note. Whenever you are writing your spelling for phylum Arthropoda, you need to be very careful. I repeat, in biology, spelling must be correct to spell. So come with me as we examine today's new content. So, as I said earlier, take note of your spelling when writing the word the term Arthropoda. Having said that, let's quickly look at the unique features associated with organisms that are grouped under this very phylum, phylum Arthropoda. To start with, one, take note that this is the largest phylum. This is the phylum where you have the largest number of living organisms in the animal kingdom. Okay, and organisms here have distinct head with complex muscular system. Okay, organisms here have distinct head and a complex muscular system. Also, organisms here are said to be very successful because they have very great ability to maximize water. Okay, because of this great ability, they are regarded as being the most successful phylum, and in fact, organisms here can be found virtually everywhere. Organisms associated with this phylum can be found virtually everywhere. Next, they are invertebrates with jointed legs and segmented body. Okay, invertebrates, they have jointed appendages, or what sometimes is commonly said to be jointed legs, and then they equally have bodies that are segmented. Exoskeleton is also present, usually made up of a substance called chitin. Later in the course of our study, when we will be looking at skeletal system, we will be having to look at types of skeletal material. We have bone, we have cartilage, and then we have chitin. This is a form of skeletal material that forms the exoskeleton in arthropods. So when we get to biological system, we'll be speaking more on chitin. Aside this, we equally have this organism being regarded as triploblastic organisms. That is, they have 3 body layer. Okay, and then this very organism, they have various means of respiration. Yes, in the course of our study, we'll be looking at about 4 classes under this very phylum. 4 classes, and these various classes have different organs for gaseous exchange and respiration. So a quick one. Okay, for some of the members here, they make use of gills, some make use of what is called trachea, some make use of what is called a lung book, and so on. So take note, when we get there, we'll be looking at each in detail. Also, what you have here is a open circulatory system. When we get to biological systems as well, we'll be looking at circulatory system and the various types of circulatory system. We have the open circulatory system, the closed circulatory system, you have single circulatory system, you have double circulatory system, you have the one you may call pulmonary, you have systemic, and so on. When we get to treat that, we'll look at it in detail. But for this very phylum right now, all we know is that they have what? Open circulatory system. And they are the most common members of this kingdom Animalia. members of this phylum can be found virtually everywhere. Our last point will be that it is made up of what? 4 classes. So with this, we will be moving on to examine the 4 classes. Come with me. Here is a table guiding and helping to give details to the varying features associated with the different classes under the phylum Arthropoda. Remember, from the previous slide, it was said that that very phylum, or this very phylum Arthropoda, is made up of about 4 classes. And as you can see them listed out here, we have the class Crustacean, or what is simply referred to as crustaceans. Then we have Insecta. We equally have class Myriapoda. Although this very class Myriapoda is further splitted into 2, that is Chilopoda and Diplopoda. After that, the 4th class is the class Arachnida. And so a quick one. Using these very classes, we will be looking at a couple of features that differentiates one from another. As you can see projected here, okay, on the board, we have body segments. For crustacean, body segment is always splitted. Body is always splitted into what is called the cephalothorax and the abdomen. While for insects, you rather have head, thorax, and abdomen. For your Myriapoda, for the Chilopoda and the Diplopoda, that's talking about our elongated body insects. Okay. For the Chilopoda, they usually have just head and segments. While for the Diplopoda, the same thing, head and what? Several segments. For Arachnida, we have body segmented into prosoma and opistosoma. Again, prosoma and opistosoma. We move on. Concerning their eyes, you have a pair under crustacean, a pair under insects. Although here for crustacean, compound eye, take note. For insects, simple eye. A pair also under the Myriapoda, a pair, either Chilopoda or Diplopoda, a pair each. And then for Arachnida, we have 4 pair of simple eye. Antenna can equally be seen. Okay, 2 pair for your crustacean, 1 pair for insects, 1 for Myriapoda, and then you have antenna not really there when it comes to Arachnida. For legs, yes, what may be referred to as appendages, jointed appendages. We have 5 pair for your crustacean, which means all in all, crustaceans have 10 jointed appendages. And then 3 pair for insects, that is 6. Okay, that's for Insecta, that is 6 jointed appendages. 1 pair per segment for the Chilopoda, that is 1 pair of leg per segment for Chilopoda. While Diplo, from the word Diplo, you can infer we are making reference to 2. For Diplopoda, we are having 2 pair of leg per segment. And then for the Arachnida, you are having 4 pair of jointed appendages. And then for respiratory organs or respiratory differentiated structure used by these various classes, just like it had been said much earlier in the previous slide with regards to the board use, it was said then that we have various organs being used for gaseous exchange and respiration under this very phylum. Like as you can see, for crustacean, they make use of gills. For Insecta, make use of a tracheal system. And then for the Myriapoda, a tracheal system as well. While for your Arachnida, basically, they make use of what is referred to as lungs book. A lungs book. Now, with this, we are gradually coming to the end of our study under phylum Arthropoda. Endeavor to revisit the video again and again until you have a full and good grasp of the content. So, we'll be moving on to the next phylum, which is a very short, detailed phylum. Phylum Echinodermata. Come with me. From the intricate working of the cells to classification of living things, from the mechanism